Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about learning to intertwine text, something like this, using Illustrator. So let's get started. Let's begin by creating a new file. Go to File, New. I'll choose 11 into 8 inches and if you want to print it out, make sure it's CMYK, but I'm going to use RGB and 300 ppi for this tutorial. Click on Create. So for this tutorial, I have downloaded a color theme from Adobe Color site. I will mention all the color codes in the description box below, or you can also find it on my blog. Go to your layers. If you cannot see your layers, go to Window and Layers. So in our layer 1, we're going to put our text in here. To start with, let's type in our text. I've written something here absolutely gorgeous, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to recreate this. You can always go ahead and choose your own words. Click on the type tool, click and type. I'm going to double click this and change the font. Here I've used something called as Bromello. I will leave a link to download this font. It's a free font, so you can use it. If you have some really nice fonts, you can find it on the type kit. Just download it as well. So the basic theme for this is one font is like really nice and brush font, or something which is artistic, and the other one is plain font, so that there is a contrast between the types. So let's go ahead and click this and say Bromello. And I'm going to choose about 200 points for this. Okay, and go back to your selection tool, click and place it in the center. You won't be in the center, so what you can do is go ahead and align center and align, and then press these two buttons right here. And if holding these two buttons are not making any changes, make sure you say align to artboard and not to selection. If you cannot see align over here, you can find it in Window and Align right here. Okay, so we have our first word ready, but we're going to go ahead and change the color. So go to your library and then let's make it something like this. Next, we're going to type in our next word. Go back to your text tool, click and type gorgeous. I want caps. I think the spelling's all right. Okay, select everything. And now for this, I've chosen a font called KG. Why you gotta be so mean? I don't know, but I'm just gonna select that. And let's make this 200 as well. We're gonna edit this font. So it's okay about the size now, but we're gonna change the size later. Click on your selection tool and bring it somewhere where you can see. Let's go ahead and choose a color. I like this pinkish, I don't know, skin color, which looks very muted color. So let's just take that. Now let's go ahead and align this as well, center and then center. Okay, so this is how it looks, but I'm going to reduce the size of this one because I want it a little smaller. And again, go back and make sure you align it. Now I'll choose the other font that is absolutely, which is in the background, and drag and pull it so that it becomes a little bigger. And then go ahead, align, and then center these two. Okay, so now you can always arrange this in a way, like if you want your E to a bit like this, then you can make sure these two things are, like, it depends on how you want to arrange it, but let me just make the default. Let's go back, align, and keep it in the center. Okay, so we have our text ready. Now it's time to go ahead and kind of interlink them. So to do that, now you have to select everything. You can click and drag and select everything, or you can do Command or Control A to select everything. And now once you have that, go to your type and create outlines. As you can see, you have the type is now it's in a different format, and you can see these tiny different shapes forming right here. So your next step is to divide this. To do that, you should go to your Pathfinder tool. If you cannot find it anywhere here, go to Window and Pathfinder. And you have this tiny little button here which says Divide, and click on this. So now as you can see, this is completely grouped. So the first thing we're going to do is ungroup this. So having this selected, press Command Shift and G. So this kind of ungroups it. That's also like right click and group or ungroup. So once you have that, click outside, and now you can see that these are like tiny little portions. You can individually select them. So now we're going to go ahead, dive into it, and select all the tiny little portions and color them according to what we need. So let's start in this end. Okay, so this is like a huge chunk which you wanted. So I'm just going to select it, and I'm going to press I on my keyboard and select this color. And now we're going to do the same thing for the most part. You can actually press V on your keyboard to go back to your selection tool and click on this. And you can also click from your color theme right here if you don't want to keep pressing I on your keyboard. Which portion of the alphabet you want on the top and which one you want to go underneath these S, you have to decide on that. That's something you get to decide. So let me go ahead and modify these things. Like for example, maybe let's put it on top. Let's do the same here. I'll just quickly finish doing this and get back. Okay, so we have our intertwined alphabets or text ready. So it's really simple. So once you have this, we're going to go ahead and group it together because we don't want things moving about like this, right? And so select everything by pressing Control A or Command A, and then Command G or Control G to group them together. So now everything is together. Now click on this and make sure it's again central. So click and click. Like I said, if you cannot find this, go to your window and align to check this. I feel like this is too tiny, so what I'm going to do is click and drag so that I can make it a little bigger, and then again make sure it's in the center. Okay, we have our text ready. Now it's time to put something extra on the top and the bottom, which is like really basic stuff. So go ahead and take your rectangle tool and make a rectangle right here. And let's color this a little baby pink, skin color or whatever that is. And another one, a little thinner one. And let's color this the darker color. Okay, so now we're going to copy this and move it down. Let me arrange this a little bit. Okay, so select, hold your shift key and select so that both of them get selected. Now hold your option key down and shift key down and select and drag and place it wherever you want. Okay, that looks good, but I want this one on the top, so shift, click and bring it to the top. I'll just select this and move it a little down so that, okay. Now it's time to make those two swirls that we have right here. You can avoid it if you want, and you can also intertwine them if you want by like selecting both of them and pressing divide. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. So let's go ahead and select your pencil tool. If you cannot see from pencil tool here, right click and go to pencil tool and just draw some swirls right here. There you go. And now let's choose a color. I chose this blue color. Make sure it's swapped to show the line, and then go to your stroke. If you cannot see the stroke, go to window and then stroke right here. Let's make it 1 point, rounded cap and rounded corner, dashed line, and I've set it to 6 point, which I think is enough for me. So let's just keep it at that. Go to your selection tool and click outside and you can see it. So now we're going to do the same thing below, but obviously you cannot draw it like, freehand and expect it to be exactly the same as this. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to say Control C or Command C to copy it, Control F or Command F to paste on top. Now there are two of these swirls right here. Right click and then transform, reflect. We're going to do a horizontal reflect and click OK. Now click on that, hold your shift key and drag it down and place it wherever you want it to be. Somewhere like this. And click outside. And so you have your final thing ready. So to export this, now let's go back to our layers and let's create one more layer and let's click and drag this below. This is going to be our background layer. So let's lock this so that we don't damage that thing. Now click on this layer 2 and we're going to make a rectangle. Click, click, and then drag. And then you have a rectangle right here. Let's fill this. No, we don't want that color. We want something which is like more of a white. So select your white. And make sure the border is turned off because you really don't want it. Okay, click on your selection tool now. And this is how your sheet looks like. Now it's time to export it. Go to File, Export, Export As. And now you get an option to choose whatever you want. And I usually choose PNG because I really like the format. So check PNG and say use artboard. So when you say use artboard, all these extra things get cut off. So let's go ahead and say export. You can change the name if you want, but I'm just going to say export. Make sure it's 300 ppi or higher if you want it like really nice, and then transparent. Okay, click OK. Okay, let's go check our output. Okay, there you have it. This is like the output that we got. So this is basically how you intertwine two texts, and it need not be just two types of text. You could also do this with a text and a vector element, or it could be two vector elements. Like for example, you have a whole bunch of flowers and an arrangement, and in which you can make the leaves come on top of the flowers or bottom of the flowers. Twigs are like, kind of going in between the flowers and the leaves and stuff like that. So you could do that as well. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it was simple enough and easy enough to follow. I would really like to hear your comments on it. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. Do go check out my Instagram and my blog. I do give out some freebies on my blog from time to time, so definitely go check it out. So until next week, bye.